Finally, do you know how frustrating it is? Every single video I do always has some crappy car in it. This is a 2006 Hummer H3. I've never even seen one of these up close before. This is amazing. You know you're moving up in the world when your customers are giving you Hummers. So this lady has a really nice Hummer, but it needs some work, and she knows that. That's why she gave me this Hummer, so that I could tell her what I thought about it and maybe help her fix it, make it better, and then she can tell all of Denver, Colorado that she has the perfect Hummer. So, you know me, always altruistic. I'm rising to the occasion, and I'm going to do what I can to help her out. So before I tell you the symptoms, let's set some ground rules to maintain professionalism here, because I don't want to accidentally say Hummer in an incorrect context where it could be taken as a double entendre. So I'm going to refer to it as the H3. All right? Finishing this Hummer itself may be more than a mouthful, so we need to keep focused on this. All right, I got that out of my system. So, symptoms with this car: no check engine light, little bit of odd idle, sort of an erratic idle, especially after coming to a stop. The car seems to want to stumble, things like that. And what we're going to do is we're going to look at some scan tool data, see if maybe we can pick something up and get a direction. Okay. So here's some scan tool data caught during a test drive, and then down here at idle, hint, hint. And by the way, this H3 is really kind of a cool ride. It's kind of fun to drive. But one thing that is kind of spooky about it, it is shockingly similar to that Volvo S70 that I did the funky idle video on a couple videos ago. It's got a 5-cylinder 20-valve engine just like the Volvo did, and it has one of those electronic throttle control modules just like the Volvo did, and of course that was the problem with the Volvo in that video. So maybe we've got that coming up again, but this is almost like the Volvo all over again. So what we've got up here is our throttle position sensor during the test drive, and then down below it we've got in red engine speed matched up with long-term fuel trim. So again, if you've seen the Volvo video and you know about long-term fuel trims from my fuel trims video, you can pick up a couple of interesting patterns here. First of all, the most important is that you notice that even at idle positions here, like here at the very end is some idle, and we can see that even at this idle over here, if you look up, the throttle position sensor is still hovering just under 20, and if we look here, this is actually at an idle situation, and we can see that we've got 17.6% throttle position angle, very similar to that Volvo, where of course you would think, well, we need to go look there and clean out the throttle body or whatever. Now, this throttle is a lot more accessible than the Volvo, so that'd be much easier, but let's not get ahead of ourselves here. So the other thing we see with the long-term fuel trim and the engine speed, if you remember in the long-term fuel trim video that I did a while back, we can see this pattern that the fuel trim, we see that it's within spec. I mean, it really never goes above 8, and anything under 10, 10 to minus 10 is fine. I really prefer it within 5 to minus 5, but this is acceptable. But do notice there is a pattern that when we increase engine speed, when we hit the throttle, there is a slight increase in the long-term fuel trim. And then as we decrease engine speed here, we see that the long-term fuel trim lowers. So what that is indicative of is a couple things. Dirty mass airflow sensor might be a good explanation for that, but also a fuel delivery issue, but not unless we see that screaming really high. But we definitely do have kind of an interesting thing. Now down here, if we look at idle, 17.6% throttle position angle, which again, I've never seen an H3 before, but I'm confident since it's a GM vehicle that is not going to be normal, and that we do have some issue here that may be explaining our problem. So let's go ahead and take a look at that. All right, so a little hint here. I actually, of course, when I saw that, the first thing I did was go ahead and check the throttle body. As usual, it's located right at the top of the intake manifold and everything, very easy to get to. But The problem is when I looked at it, it was very clean. It was definitely not the problem, so I had to start looking elsewhere. And in retrospect, when we find out what's wrong with this car, kind of lucky that that wasn't the case on that Volvo, because I kind of jumped right to that electronic throttle control. But let me show you what the problem is here. It's going to be in the airbox. And in my effort to keep all the viewers happy, we are going to do more of a bolt by bolt on this. I actually did get a person that told me they had to give me a thumbs down on my videos because I never actually show taking apart and putting stuff back together, which essentially makes the whole video useless. Useless? It makes the whole video useless? Really? That's like saying your cancer medicine is useless because I didn't show you how it was manufactured at the plant. Useless? So we will go bolt by bolt into the airbox, and I will show you my thinking as I'm going along, because if you want bolt by bolt, I'll give you the fish this time, but I'd like to teach you how to fish. Then you'll be able to do this without having to rely on seeing a takedown video on YouTube. The theme for the day is going to be get what's in the way out of the way by looking at what it is attached with. All right, I need to get into the hood, but I can't because the hood is closed. Hopefully there's a YouTube video on this, or maybe better yet, I can think for myself. What are we supposed to do again? Get what's in the way out of the way by seeing how it's attached. And there is a hood lever right in here. I'm going to push that hood lever and raise the hood, and now I have access. And I didn't even have to rely on a YouTube video for that. But now I've got a problem. The hood shocks are weak, and they won't hold up the hood. I better check YouTube. This is a job for a professional. Or I can use my superior spatial reasoning skills and put a vice grips right there to hold the hood open. In here is going to be my air filter. I can't get to it. What am I going to do? Well, what's the theme again? Get what's in the way, out of the way, by removing what is attaching it. There's clips here. Let me show you. There's a clip here. Looks like it might be holding the top part on. Maybe that'll do it. It still won't come off. Man, there's only two possibilities for that. I'm really weak, or there might be more clips. Well, I can't say I exactly see why these bolt by bolt videos are so popular. I mean, I might appreciate this approach if this was a sex education video, but watching me do this over and over, not sure I understand. All right, let's get this airbox off. If you need to put the stuff back together again, you can do it one of three ways. You can play this video backwards. You can find another YouTube video that will have a bolt by bolt on reinstallation, or you can look at it and figure it out. Let's get this air filter out of here. My videos are useless. You know, it's hard enough to fix a car and film it at the same time, much less fix a car properly, make an incredible production, and have brilliant humor at the same time. Give me some credit. Let's take a look at this thing. All right, I hope you enjoyed that bolt by bolt sequence, because it won't happen again. One of the things to remember, by the way, is the better you are at diagnosing, the less that you end up removing bolts. So if you're really into that kind of thing, don't learn to diagnose. Check out this air filter. That is the dirtiest air filter I have ever seen in my life. This is a new air filter. See the difference? My guess is that the reason this engine's idling so bad is because of the dirty air filter. And remember, and I'll admit, I did overlook this the last time on that Volvo. Normally I'll look at an idle air control position to kind of help with diagnosis. You got to remember that on these electronic throttle control modules, the throttle position is the idle air control also. And I overlooked that. Of course, if there's no air coming into the engine, then the idle air control has to open more to get as much air as possible in so that the engine keeps running. And I believe that is the reason on this car why the throttle position sensor is so high. It's not that it's blocked with carbon like on that Volvo in the last video. It's because it's starving for air and it's trying to get more. This is honestly the dirtiest. Oh God. All right, sorry for the noise and camera work here, but I just wanted to take a quick shot because owner's here to pick up their car and I got to get this out of here. And we can see that our actual throttle position is at 6% now instead of the 18%. Air filter made all the difference in the world there. Just goes to show to not forget your basics. And also, interestingly enough, it looks like a little bit more on the mass airflow too. Well, sorry for the really fast, abrupt ending there, but filming my first Hummer, I guess I got excited and you know, didn't really keep track. But I need a cigarette after that repair. Glad that it turned out to be something really simple like that, not just because it's an easy fix, but it's a great reminder to not forget the basics. You get so caught up in all the IATs and IACs and MAFs and MAPs and all this, and sometimes you just forget the most basic things. So this was a great example and really helped me out too. I did indeed overlook that air filter at first and started taking apart looking for the throttle body to be clogged. So good lesson there. The one thing that kind of got me on this thing though was I don't understand why there isn't a check engine light on that vehicle, because I can't think of any circumstance other than driving at the top of Mount Everest where you would have to increase the throttle to allow more air to come in. You know, I'm not sure whether that just can't accurately be measured by the MAF or MAP or what, but it would seem to me that with a sustained idle and the throttle holding at 18 or 20%, that there would be some type of check engine light or some type of flag. And I'm not quite sure why that is. Maybe if you guys know, then you can put it in the comments. But that's kind of the only thing that sort of maybe threw me here a little bit. But anyway, good lesson learned today. And I'll be off for the next couple weeks because I've just got some, you know, really non-exciting stuff. But next good check engine light or next good diagnostic video, I will let you know. We'll talk to you later.